Hey guys, in today's video, we are building three different ChatGPT GoLang projects. Now, ChatGPT is absolutely killing it these days, and a lot of companies require ChatGPT as a skill for the developers. So, in this video, we want to build three different projects. You'll get a lot of exposure. You'll get to understand how ChatGPT really works with GoLang, of course. Now, in case you're new to this channel, I teach GoLang and Rust primarily, and I have projects. A lot of projects around these two technologies. Like I have about 50 different Rust project playlists that I'm working on right now on this channel. So you can go to my playlist, check out 50 different Rust project playlists. And for GoLang also, there are about 45 to 46 different GoLang projects, depending on when you're seeing this video. It could be more. And this particular video will also become part of that GoLang project playlist series. So, and all of these projects in that playlist are like really absolutely solid projects that we've built from scratch. You can use these projects to showcase in your portfolio in case you're applying for a job, and that is my main aim, to get you to help you get a great job with after actually building real world stuff. Also, there's one more thing that I try to aim towards building projects that help you put really highly valuable skills in your portfolio. Like in the sense, I've been really dedicated towards Web3 since the past few months, and Web3 will keep going on, and I'll keep posting videos on Web3, but now a few videos on ChatGPT as well, because I know that this is going to increase your net worth on your resume. All right, so I always try to target the really highly valuable skills that you can put in your portfolio. All right, so having said all of that out of the way, let's test out what each of these three projects does. Now, the first program, we'll run the first program. All it does is it sends a prompt to ChatGPT, calls the ChatGPT API using a client. It sends a prompt to it and it gets back the entire reply. Okay, so what I'm going to say is I'm going to say go run main.go. Okay, it takes a while for it to resolve. So this is the prompt that I sent it. The first thing you should know about GoLang. This is the first prompt that I sent it, and I used the completions API from ChatGPT, and it completes the sentence for me. It says is that it imports and packages are always capitalized. Okay, so let me just quickly show you the code. I'm sending it simply a prompt. The first thing you should know about GoLang is, and it sends me back the entire completed sentence. Similarly, let's also go into the second program. Sorry, it's ChatGPT is one word, and here I'll just run the main file again. Now each small project gets little more difficult. Here we are using a library to be able to pick up whatever we type in the command line. So it's like a complete CLI tool that we've built. And here I can say, hello, how are you? So it's going to send this sentence to ChatGPT, and it's going to get a complete reply. So it's saying, I'm doing well, thank you, how about you? So it's like, who is the president of India? Yeah, so it gets like the right replies, obviously. And I can just say quit to end. Okay. Now, the third program. Here also, I think we have to run all the files. Okay, yeah. So what this program does is, let me show it to you. So here I have a text file with some input code. Now this is some code that I picked up from the internet. This is Python code. And my program is going to go through this entire code and is going to send it to ChatGPT, obviously. And ChatGPT is going to send me back the output. The output contains all the libraries that are used in this code. Okay, all the libraries. So I get NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, Stats Model, and Matplotlib. These are all the libraries that are being used in this code. Now I've told ChatGPT to work with Python. I can always replace this for GoLang. I can replace this with JavaScript, Rust, anything, and also change the code here, input with code.txt, and it will change that accordingly for me and give me the libraries that were used in the code. All right. So three different programs, three different types of programs, three different approaches, and three different levels of difficulty. And we'll be building all of this from scratch. Now, before you begin, please know that all of these projects exist on my GitHub page. So I'm Akhil Sharma 90 on GitHub. So you'll find ChatGPT, this ChatGPT CLI, which is the second tool, ChatGPT intermediate, which is the third tool, and ChatGPT basic, which is the first tool, right? All these three tools, all these three projects already there on my GitHub. My GitHub link is also there in the description of my YouTube profile. So make sure you follow me there as well. You get all the code to so many different projects. You can learn so much from these projects, right? So make sure you follow me there, and feel free to start these projects so that I know that you're following along with me. Okay. So let's get started with that out of the way. Let's just get started. So let's start with our first program, and I'll just say mkdir go. I'll just say chat GPT and YT1 for YouTube, the first project, and I'll cd into it chat GPT YT1, and the standard stuff, go mod init. Okay, and here once you do go mod init, you'll see the mod file being created. This will have the list of all of your dependencies. All right, and what we'll do is I'll open this up in my code editor, which is VS Code in my case. Here I'll have main.go, the main.go file. All right. Now there will also be a .env file. This will not get committed to my GitHub because I'm going to be using a git ignore, which is going to ignore .env. Make sure you don't by mistake share your API key for ChatGPT with anyone, because you get like very few credits for free and then you have to pay. So your free credits, somebody else will end up using your free credits. So make sure you don't share your API key with anyone. Okay. Now the variable we use is API key. Now the API key is the same. It doesn't matter if you're using which API of ChatGPT you're using, which model you're using. The API key is going to be the same. So when you log into ChatGPT, on the top right you'll see your profile. Click on that menu, you'll see the place for getting your API key. Make sure you get it. Just a one-step process. I'm not going to show it because these days almost everybody has their API key, right? So get your API key, put it here. Okay, I'm going to put it here, but I won't, like I said, I won't show you guys the API key. And then here, this is our main package, right? And then we're going to have the main function here. We're going to import a couple of things. So we need a lot of different packages, but we need two different third-party libraries. One is the go.env, which will help us to work with our environment file, and the other is a client, like ChatGPT client, that somebody has built for us. It's by a company called Pull Request. They've built a ChatGPT client for GOlang, right? So we'll be using that client. Now I'm also in the process of building a much simpler ChatGPT library for GOlang. Like what Pull Request guys have built is like very like it has a lot of features basically. And many times when you're working with smaller, simpler programs, you don't need all those features. So I'm building a much smaller library, and I'll put it on my GitHub as well. You can feel free to like take a look at it, and then in the future videos, we'll try and use that library instead. All right. So here you have package main, and we're going to import a couple of things, but for now I'll just leave this empty. For now I'll just leave this empty. And the first thing that I need is I want to call my go.env, because I'll be importing the go.env package, and that will give me access to go.env, and I'm going to load my environment variables, and I'm going to take a variable called API key, and it's going to be equal to get environment and API underscore key. Now when I say API underscore key, I mean this API underscore key. I'm going to just go ahead and get it. That'll be stored in my API key variable. Now go.env, right? I've used this package in so many of my GOlang projects. So make sure you get the link right. So you'll have the GitHub code for reference. Copy and paste this link. Get it right. Okay. And now I'll show you this squiggly line here. That's because we've not run go mod tidy yet, and we'll run it in a while. And you'll see a switch line here because we have not used this variable yet. So we'll use that as well. So now the API key could be empty. If it's empty, it's going to say, it's going to tell you to, so obviously you need the log package as well, log and OS. It's going to tell you to check because your API key is missing API key. Okay. All right. So here we'll start with our context variable. We'll say context dot background. Working with APIs and clients, make sure you're using context, right? So many projects I've shown you in the past, like with working with databases and all, where we've used context to be working with anything external like database or APIs or clients. Context helps a lot. And then you want to create a new client. Now the client is going to be with the help of the GPT-3 library, which gives you access to the function called new client, and you're going to pass your API key there. Now the GPT-3 that you need here, GPT-3, is actually coming from the library by pull request. You can also go and check out their GitHub page. This is the most stable library that I found on GitHub, because these guys have a lot of stars and a lot of active development is going on. So I recommend you use this only if possible, at least for this particular project. All right. So we've created a new client as well, and now I'm going to hit, like I said, the completions API. So I'm going to say client.completion, pass the context, GPT.completion request. We want to, because the first project, if you remember, you just want to send a prompt, and we want ChatGPT to complete it and give us back the entire response. Okay. So here we're going to say, and whatever response comes back from the client, we want to capture that in a variable called response. And we also want to handle the error later on. So let me handle the error right now itself. So if error is not equal to nil, we're gonna log print ln. I'll use log fatal actually, and I'm gonna print out the error here. And finally, if everything goes well and I have what I need in my response, I'm going to just print it out. I'm going to say print ln. I'm going to say response dot choices dot th. So in case right now you're wondering, like, where all will you be using the ChatGPT API? Now in your GOlang project, like let's say your old GOlang projects or any new GOlang project that you're building, imagine how useful the ChatGPT API is going to be for you, right? Maybe you want to, you have a GOlang project already built in, and you want to create a new file for GOlang. You just tell ChatGPT, hey, just build a new file for me for this purpose, or write some new code for me, or do this, right? Or you can create a new project, a new product on top of ChatGPT, and then give people the API, and they can log into your product. They can use ChatGPT when they don't have to know that in the background it's ChatGPT that's running. Maybe you could build a copywriting tool, right? Maybe you could build a blog writing tool, a tool that writes tweets, right? And I'll probably build something like this for you guys on this channel. But that's all you can. That's the beginning of the kind of things that you can do with ChatGPT API when you use it with GOlang, right? ChatGPT, when you can try it, you can log in and give it prompts and work with it. But you can't really make any money doing that, right? You can only make money if you use ChatGPT API in the backend and build a product on top of it. And that's the direction that I'm taking you in. Okay, so you could either do that, or like I said, for your job, if you're applying for a job, very, very helpful skill. So both of these things. This is going to basically print out the relevant data from the response object. Now here I'm going to pass a prompt. So it has a couple of things. It has max tokens, right? This completion requires all of these max tokens. It requires stop, and it requires echo. Okay, so echo is true. Stop is going to be string dot, put a comma after all of these. Max tokens is going to be GPT dot control 30, and prompt is what you're passing, right? The main thing. This is the most important thing, obviously, which is, in our case, the first thing you should know about GOlang is, and it'll complete the sentence for you. Now, this is only one sentence, but you can write any sentence here and it'll do that for you. Right. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I will run go mod tidy on this program. So I'll go here and I'll say go mod tidy, because I want it to get these two packages for me, and I want to take away all those squiggly lines. Okay, sorry, that was the third program that I have to show you. So right now it's gone, it's taken away all the squiggly lines. Okay, and everything looks all right to me for now. So I can go ahead and run the program. So I can say go run main.go. So it says missing API key, because obviously I have not added the API key. Alright, so I will go ahead and add the API key. You guys also do that. Let's come back. Alright, now that I've added my API key, I'll go ahead and run it. And I'll wait for it. It says the first thing you should know about GOlang is that it's statically typed. Right, so it's working perfectly. And now we can move on to our next program. The next program I'm going to have the same kind of a naming convention. I'm going to say chat GPT YT2. CD into it, chat GPT YT2. And I'm going to again say go mod init. Same thing. The name of the project, ChatGPT YT2, and I'm going to open this up in my code editor. All right, and here I'm going to put my main file. All right, and if you remember, we need the ability to accept some CLI arguments that we'll put up there. So basically it was a CLI tool, if you remember, the second project that I showed you, the demo CLI tool, and we interacted directly with ChatGPT. So again, I'm going to say package main. Let me just check if this is recording or not. Yeah, it's recording. Package main, and we're going to have an import statement here. I will have my main function on main. Okay, and in this video, in this project, I'm going to use Viper and Cobra. So Viper I'm going to use for working with the environment file, and Cobra I'm going to use for the CLI. So I'm going to say viper.set config file. This is just a different way, like a different package. It does the same thing that go.env does, so it's up to you, like whatever you prefer. I would recommend knowing how to use both. Okay, and here it will say viper dot read in config, right? And then what exactly what we did in the last video, which we're going to say get the API key. Okay. Same API key you're going to put in the environment. So you're going to say API key, and you're going to put your API key here. And we'll put the exact same check, right? So the code is going to look very, very similar. So we'll say if the API key is empty, panic, missing API key. Okay. And again, the same thing, we'll use context dot background, and we'll again create our GPT-3 client. So new client, and again pass API key. Okay, and then we're going to write some code for working with the CLI. Okay. So for the CLI, what you'll say is you'll pass cobra.command there. Now for the libraries, you have Viper there. Obviously, I'll just press Ctrl S. You'll get all the other libraries. So yes, I need Go GPT3. I need Cobra and Viper, both of these. Okay, this is perfect. I was able to find the right. Usually, it doesn't work really well for third-party packages, but this time it worked really well. And here in Cobra, whatever comes back, I will assign that to root cmd. And here, let's say use chat GPT. Sorry, the U is capital. And short chat with chat GPT in console. And this is the function that will run. Okay, so you use ChatGPT, you'll have this description, and then this is the function will run. The function will be like this. So you pass cmd cobra.command, and the arguments will be passed here. You'll use scanner buffer input output. Scanner, we've used this in many of our scraper videos in the beginning. For GOlang, you used exactly buff video, just like this, creating a new scanner. os.std input, again quit, false. Right. Now you remember that there is a quit, like the user can write quit to quit from this CLI. And in the beginning, we'll start with quit is equal to false, right? When it becomes true, then we'll exit this program. So till the time that quit is false, we have to run the program. So we'll say fmt.print, say something, and then you can also input quit to end. Okay, and if scanner is not able to scan, then you just break. All right. Then you'll say scanner.text, and you'll get that into your question. So if there's some text written by the user, you get this in variable called question, and you'll switch the question. Okay. Now it could be that the user has written quit, right? If it's quit, then you want to set the quit variable to true, and as soon as the quit variable is set to true, your for loop will stop running, because it only runs till quit is false, and it was running because we had manually set the quit to false when we started this function. Okay. And if it's a default case, which means he's trying to ask a question, we're going to call another function called getResponse, and we pass the client, context, and question. Now this function getResponse we'll have to create, and all that we'll do in that function is just call the ChatGPT API using the ChatGPT client. That's it. Put a comma here so that the squiggly line goes away, and finally we'll say root cmd.execute, which is this root cmd.execute. Okay, when I say Control S, it should get most of the packages for me. Okay. Now the most important function is for me, the pending function is getResponse. So I'm going to go ahead and create the getResponse function. I already know what all it takes. It takes in the client, which is of type GPT3 dot client. I know it takes context, which is context dot context. I know it takes in a question, which is string. Okay. And you have client dot completion stream with engine. Okay, this is the function you get with the GPT-3 client. just like in the previous video, we used a different function. Right now, we use a different function. Passing in context, GPT3 dot. I'm going to use the DaVinci. So you'll get the list of all the engines. I'm going to use the DaVinci. This is, in my opinion, like a very efficient and very accurate engine. So you could use that. It's also, I think, the most expensive if you're on a paid package of GPT-3. And I suggest, like, in case you don't have any free credits, ChatGPT has not given any free credits, feel free to just put your card in there and put a limit for like $5 per month. So you won't exceed, like, or you can even put it for $1 if you want. You won't end up exceeding $1 also, I think, in a month. You can put in a limit there, $1, $5, whatever you're comfortable with. And you can use the API. So all type of cards work on ChatGPT. Like, I had free credits from ChatGPT, but I ended up like, doing a lot of research and trying out all these programs. So I ended up spending all of that. So I had to put in my card eventually. You can do the same. Max tokens GPT3 dot. Okay, so you might be wondering what is tokens, right? Tokens is basically like every single word that ChatGPT sends to you is a token. So you can set how many tokens do you want it to send you back. So in my case, it's 3,000 right now. Now, the lesser this number, the better for your wallet, for your money, because ChatGPT charges you per token, per amount of tokens it sends you, right? So you want to have less if you want to spend less. But if you want the program to be more accurate, you want to have, or you want to get the complete result, you want to have more tokens, right? So that's why in the previous one, I just wanted a completion. So I didn't require like a lot of tokens. But now I want, I could ask a question which could end up in a lot more tokens. So that's why I'm just passing a lot more tokens, right? So I just explained to you because it was not very relevant in the previous video, but now it's kind of relevant. So I want to just explain to you what it means. We have temperature GPT3 dot float liquid pointer, comma, and here you put a comma again, and you'll say function response. The response that you get will be completion response fmt.print response dot, just like we printed last time, response dot choices. You'll get something called as choices. You want to access the 0th index and you want to print out some text. Okay. All right. So let's just go through these brackets because I think something is missing. Like one of the brackets is wrong. And I think I'll close this here. Like definitely something is off, and we want to take care of that in a while. But for now, just bear with me. So if error is not equal to nil, we're going to have fmt dot print ln. You're just handling the error. This error, you're handling it here, and let's say os dot exit and code 13, and finally you want to print out dot printf and new line. All right. So this is your main function. You use the Viper package to set the config file. You read the config file. You get the string for API key. You check if the API key is not missing. You set up a context, create a new client, and you use Cobra, which is your library that's going to help you with the command line arguments. Then you say use it for like complete CLI tool we're building, right? So ChatGPT, this is the short, and this is the function that's going to run. It's going to scan for the input and is going to set the quit for false. Till the time the quit is false, I'm going to keep printing this, like say something, or you can just say quit to end, and like we'll assign the question to whatever the user puts in. We'll switch case if the user is in quit. When the set quit is equal to true, that will exit this for loop, right? And if whatever question he sends in, we'll send it to this function called getResponse, and we'll execute this function, okay, the root CMD that we have created here. GetResponse is another function that takes in a client context question, and it works with this function, completion stream engine, and we use a specific engine, the DaVinci engine, and in the completion request. Now, one thing only I'm worried about is the brackets. I hope the brackets are all closed at the right places. This looks okay to me for now. Right. So here you'll have the max tokens and the temperature and the function for printing out the response that you'll get back from the client, and then you'll handle the error if you get back that from the client, and then that's it. And then we'll go to the next line where same thing keeps happening. All right, now I need just one more line here for my null writer, and so here I'm just writing type null writer, which is int, and function write function. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this. So I'm going to say go run. Okay, I've not put my environment key yet, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to run this program. All right, I've put in my API key now, and we'll be running the go tidy command to get all these packages and get rid of all these squiggly lines. I'm using a null writer, a dummy writer, for my logging with the write function that always succeeds and does nothing. Okay, going back there, I need to include this in my main file. So I'll just go here and say log.set output and new null writer. Get the log package also. So now it's time to run the go tidy command. Go tidy. Awesome. Now hopefully all the squiggly lines have gone away. Now we can run our program and see what works. Okay. So seems like there are some typos. GTP3 and GPT I have written by mistake on line 20 and 22 respectively. So line 20 and 22, going to fix that. GPT3 and 22 GPT. This seems alright to me. I mean, this doesn't look like a. Oh yeah, I've missed 3. Okay, makes sense. And here I can say who is the president of India. So it works perfectly fine. Alright, so I'll just quit it. So our second program is also working perfectly fine. And now it's time to build out the third program. So again, I'll say mkdir. I'm going to call it chat GPT YT3. Sorry for the typo. I'll just say chat GPT YT3. And here I'll say go mod init github.com/akhil/chat GPT YT3. And we can see the go mod file has been created. I'm going to go ahead and create main.go file here. So main.go. So here also we'll have our .env. Okay, and there will be two more things here. The input with code .txt, and I will also have output.txt file, right? So in my input with code, I'm going to put a code sample, And I'm going to tell GOlang that, hey, tell GPT-3 that, hey, this is my code. And then it's going to process it and give me the output of the possible libraries that are being used in that code. Okay. So here again in my env, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put API key with the 2. I'll put my API key there. Now the code for the third video I've built in a way that it's incremental. So whatever you learned from the first video and you've learned from the second video, I'm going to use all of that in the third video. Right? So it's all incremental. There's no disconnect as such. Okay? And so you'll start with package main, and you'll import some things. You have your main function, and we're going to use the same libraries. We're going to use the pull request inc code GPT-3, the same library. We're going to use Viper to work with the environment file. So the first few lines of the code are going to be exactly the same. So we'll say set config file. The config file in our case is .env. Then we have Viper read in config. Okay, so it's read in config. It's reading the config file, and it's going to get us the API key, just like we've done in the previous 2 videos as well. So here we'll say get string, and the one we're looking for is API underscore key, and we'll check if the API key is empty or not, and we'll panic and we'll write the same thing, missing API key. Okay. All right. Then the same things, we'll use client context, and then we'll create a client. So ctx context.background, and we will say, sorry, I've missed the double equal to for comparison, and I'm going to create the client GPT-3 dot new client API. Okay, so the context is done, client is created, API key we've read. All we have to do now is read the input with code txt file, right? So we have to read that file. We want to send it to the client. We want to pass that file to the client along with the context. Okay, so how do you do that? So first we create a constant called input file. Input underscore with code dot txt. That's the name of the file. Okay. Then you're going to use the OS package to read that file. So it's going to read the input file. Sorry, input file. And here we're going to assign it to file bytes, comma, error. Going to handle the error also. So if you handle the error, if error is not equal to nil, this will log dot fail to read file %v comma error. Okay. Now you want to create a message for the ChatGPT. So we'll say message prefix is equal to. This is the prompt that we're going to send to ChatGPT. So give me a short list of libraries that are used in the Python code. So make sure you get the backticks right. In case, if you want, you can just copy and paste the code. Okay, the code from in the used in the code. Copy and paste from GitHub, the exact code. So these are 3 backticks. Make sure you don't get it wrong. And then Python, and then new line. And then you have a message suffix. So I'll just copy and paste that as well, which is going to trail off with 3 backticks. Now backticks, now these are not single inverted commas, right? Which is this. It's not that. It's actually a backtick, which is the key that's next to 1 in your number keypad. On top of keyword. Okay, make sure you get that right. Create the message where you have message prefix plus message suffix, but there's something else in between. which is your file bytes. Okay, so you have something in the file which is your code. Okay, you want to create a message that passes that code, not the file but the code, with a message prefix and suffix. Okay, and so you're telling ChatGPT, hey, this is giving me a short list of libraries that you use in the code, and then you send the code to ChatGPT along in that message itself with the suffix. And then let's work on our output builder. So because we want to create an output file, so we'll say output builder. So we're going to strings.builder, and here the function that we're going to use is exactly the same function that we used in the previous video, which is client being your ChatGPT client, right, which we have created here. Client dot completion stream with engine, and pass the context, pass GPT-3 dot not ADA. I want to send again, I want to select DaVinci 003 engine, select it from that list, right, and then comma GPT-3 dot completion request. This code is exactly the same as the previous video, so make sure you get it right, copy it from there if you want to. And now if you're a new developer, I always recommend not copying and writing everything on your own, but if you've been building along with me for a while, you can feel free to copy a little bit here and there. So your prompt, in the prompt you're just sending the message, right? So to your completion stream with engine, in the previous video we passed a prompt, but here we have a prompt created with our message variable, we're passing that. And then, along with prompt, you have the max tokens variable that you have to pass, ChatGPT-3 dot 3000, I'm saying 3000 here as well. And then you have your temperature, which is GPT-3 dot flow32 pointer. Okay. Now here, right here, you need to have that function which takes response GPT.completion request. All right, and output builder. So remember, in the previous video also we had this function that helps us with the output. So we say write string, and we'll just print out, right, print choices 0 dot. Now please note that here we're not printing this out into the terminal, we're actually writing in the output builder. And I think this one is not necessary, and this is enough. Here we'll say if, so we're going to handle this error. Here I want to capture the error here, so I want to handle it here. Error is not equal to nil. If error is not equal to nil, we'll have log dot table ln error, and your output is equal to strings dot trim space. Now you want to start printing it out into the output.txt file. So you first trim out the space, so you say output builder, because you have everything written in your output builder dot string, okay, and then you create your output file. Your output file is output.txt file, and you're going to write to that file now. So write file, send in the output file there, and byte output comma os.mode perm. Okay, so select the mode, and here I've also want to handle the error, because whenever I call something like this, call a function like this, there are bound to be errors, and you want to handle that. So it's a log dot fatal F, failed to read file %v, error. All right. So now what I'll do is I will go ahead and run go.id, and also I will add my environment variable here. All right, I've added my environment variable. I've also run go.id. All the switch lines have gone away, but I see there's an error, and that's because I should have written GPT-3, I think, response. GPT-3, am I doing it right? Not sure. Shouldn't have been request, should have been completion response. Okay, now hopefully we should not get any errors, any big errors. And I will say, and sorry, we have to put some code here, right? So I'm just going to put some code that I found off the internet. It's a Python code which is using quite a few libraries. I'm going to say go run main.go, and hopefully it has written the list of libraries in our output.txt, which it has. So the program is working perfectly. Now I hope guys you learned a lot from this video. We built 3 projects and all of them reused some of the code, right? We didn't do anything completely new. We were kind of building upon the same knowledge, and that kind of shows you that just knowing very few things, like with just Viper and Cobra, and how to read and write files, and how to call an API, how to use the client to call an API, just with just those few things you can build like really powerful applications. And that's what I want to show you, right? So just knowing these things is not enough. You need to be able to use them to build things, and that's what really makes you a great developer. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll keep putting out awesome content like this. I'm trying to plan for a Discord bot and a Slack bot, both with ChatGPT. And I'm also trying to build my own, like I said, my own ChatGPT library, which is going to be much lighter. It doesn't have to have a lot of fancy things. So yeah, so all of these things I'll try to post as much as possible onto YouTube. So do share all this content with your friends. You don't want them to be left out, right? Because this is awesome content that you don't find anywhere on the internet, right? There's no channel dedicated to GOlang and Rust, and specifically this kind of deep content where you actually build very valuable stuff. You don't find that on the internet. So sharing with your friends, like, comment, that will really help this YouTube channel, because we want more people to know this, right? Anyhow, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video.